Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to dive into a fascinating legal case that's been making waves in the legal world. Imagine you've just undergone a medical procedure with the hope of restoring a part of your body that has been damaged, only to find out that the results are far from what you were promised. Now, picture being told by the doctor himself that it's going to be 100% successful surgery, a guarantee that everything would go perfectly, only for the opposite to happen. What would you do? Well, this is exactly what happened to a young man named Hawkins in the 1929 case of Hawkins versus McGee. This case is one of the most famous case laws in contract law regarding promises and the legal consequences of failing to deliver on them. Not only did it become a landmark decision in contract law, but it also helped shape the way we view damages in situations where expectations are not met. In this case, Hawkins, a young man, was suffering from a scar on his hand. He sought the expertise of Dr. McGee, a well-known surgeon, hoping to restore his hand to a much better condition. The doctor, with full confidence, promised Hawkins that the surgery would result in a good-as-new hand. Not just an improvement, Dr. McGee was confident the hand would be 100% like a new one. This statement made by the doctor became the core of the case. The surgery took place, but the result was far from what was promised. Rather than a perfect hand, Hawkins ended up with a hand that was worse than before. The scars remained, and his hand wasn't restored to the promised condition. Naturally, Hawkins sued Dr. McGee for breach of contract, arguing that the doctor's promise created a binding agreement. Dr. McGee, on the other hand, argued that the promise was simply an expression of hope or a medical opinion, not an enforceable guarantee. So, how did the courts respond? The court ruled in favor of Hawkins, but here's the twist. The judgment wasn't based on personal injury damages like we might expect today. Instead, the court assessed the matter through the lens of contract law. It found that Dr. McGee's promise was a clear contract, and by failing to deliver on the promised outcome, he had breached it. Now, the question was, how much should Hawkins be compensated? The court applied the principle of expectation damages, a legal remedy designed to put the injured party in the position they would have been in had the contract been fulfilled. Hawkins was entitled to the difference between the value of the hand he was promised, one as good as new, and the hand he received, which was far less valuable. This case became crucial in the development of the doctrine of expectation damages, a foundation for understanding breach of contract cases in general. The court made it clear that, even in cases where the contract involves subjective guarantees or promises, like the medical field, if one party fails to meet those expectations, they must compensate the other party appropriately. Hawkins versus McGee teaches us that contracts aren't just about written agreements but also about what is promised, even if that promise is not formally written down. The case solidified the principle that when you don't deliver what was promised, you must compensate for the difference. But more than just a legal precedent, it reminds us of the importance of clear expectations and the consequences when those expectations are breached, whether it's in medicine, business, or even personal contracts. The case is a classic example of how law and expectations intertwine, and why it's critical to understand the promises we make in any agreement. If you found this case interesting and want to dive deeper into more landmark legal cases, don't forget to subscribe to Law Review Hub. We're here to break down the law, one case at a time, and make it easier for you to understand. Hit that subscribe button and join us as we continue exploring the fascinating world of law.